all, Violet here, second generation homeschooling mom of 3. I have a 7-year-old, a 5-year-old, and an infant. Today I wanted to share with you what we're doing for elementary Spanish. So let's get into it. So I shared in an earlier video that we tried Homeschool Spanish and it was not what we were looking for. And if you've watched my second grade curriculum picks video, you might have noticed there was no Spanish in that. My daughter surprised me earlier this year by asking to add some Spanish. So we do it intermittently when she wants to, because she already attends a Chinese school on the weekends, and that's her primary foreign language that she's studying. But my husband grew up in South America, and he grew up bilingual. His whole family is bilingual. And so both of my kids, actually, my daughter and my son, expressed an interest in learning Spanish. So I tried Homeschool Spanish. That didn't work for us. And based on how that didn't work, it's a code switching program instead of an immersion program, I researched a bunch and I ended up deciding to get flip-flop Spanish. And then I have these other resources too that I'll show you in just a minute. So flip-flop Spanish has you constructing sentences right from the beginning, which was my daughter's big complaint with Homeschool Spanish, was that she didn't feel like she was learning to speak it right away because she was just learning random vocabulary words. And I wanted a program that you did not have to be able to read in order to do, because I wanted my son to be able to do it too, because he was also saying that he wanted to learn Spanish. So Flip-Flop Spanish is Charlotte Mason inspired, the methodology behind it, and it's flashcard based. So you have all these flashcards, and each week you introduce a few new flashcards, and then you construct sentences with them. And my daughter loved this. She loved that she could feel like she could actually say something right away. So at the very beginning, for example, you start with these two flashcards, necesito and me gusta. And so with those, they tell you which cards to use, but you have a bunch of other cards and you can practice making sentences like necesito el cereal or me gusta el gato, things like that. And there's also an audio component. So the teacher, Señora Gose, just reads the lessons for you. So you could either do it from the PDF with you reading as the teacher, or just listen to the audio version. I did a mix. I did the audio version a little bit, but my kids preferred me reading it. I'm not a native speaker. I did study Spanish in college, so I do sort of know what I'm doing, but my husband's a native speaker, so he corrects me if I am messing things up. So that worked pretty well. We did, I think, the first 12 weeks of this program, and then my daughter sort of lost interest. My son kept going for a while, but it's winter now, and everybody's just feeling kind of blah. We've put this aside for now. Like I said, I just do it when they ask for it. So I feel like 12 weeks was enough time for us to tell that this is really going to work for us. And we'll come back to it, I think, maybe in the spring when they're feeling a little bit more motivated. So with the program, you get these flashcards, and then you also get this whiteboard paddle that you use in some of the review games and stuff. And I think they also sent a whiteboard marker or a dry erase marker, but I'm not sure where mine is. And then you get the online teacher's manual, which I will move over to the computer and show you now. So here's what the teacher's manual looks like. I got the digital version, obviously. And so I got a PDF of the teacher's manual. And then instead of sending a physical thing with the audio on it, they send you a link to a SoundCloud. I don't think they send a CD anymore. I think they send a USB stick with the MP3 files for the physical copies. But I like the digital one. It's easier for me to navigate. So each week you do one lesson, and they recommend you do it 3 days a week. And this kind of describes how you set up each day. There is a fair bit of repetition, which you need to, learn the vocabulary, but they do change up what you're doing slightly each day. The first 2 days are very similar, and then the third day is a bit different. My daughter's not a huge fan of repetition, but she was fine with the way this program was set up. And then next they have a pronunciation guide for pronouncing Spanish vowels, and then some helpful conversational phrases so you can get right into that if your kids are really interested in doing that. So this program is set up as actually a 2-year program. If your kids are older, they recommend you do 2 lessons a week, and so you could get through it in 1 year. And then they have a second program, Flip-Flop 2, that is another like a follow-on to this. So the lessons are set up in kind of 2 lesson chunks. So the first week with lesson 1, you would learn these first 6 flashcards and you'd work with those all week. And then the second week, lesson 2, you add 4 more flashcards. So in lesson 2, you're working with all 10 flashcards. And then when you get to lesson 3, you'll be introducing 6 new ones, and you won't be working with these anymore until you get to a review week. So they have the lesson all laid out for you, and the audio is just straight from this. She reads it for you. So the first part is going through the flashcards and making sure they know what all of them are. And then they construct sentences with them. So the Señora Gose will say a sentence, and then the kids put it together with the flashcards. You can pause the audio if you need to. And then the second part, which was my kids' favorite, was they then get to make their own sentences. And I would give my daughter the option to copy out one of her sentences, like if she was particularly proud of a sentence that she built, she could copy it out. And so sometimes she would do that, sometimes not. I didn't really care either way. I just wanted to give her that option. And then lesson 2, they're adding these new words in, and you can see it set up the same way. You will also need index cards to do this program. There are a few words that there aren't flashcards for. You have to make your own with just blank index cards. And then you can see that this week has a review with that whiteboard paddle I showed you, a review game. So they do try to add games in and make it fun. And then week 3 now, you can see that there are 6 new words. And then week 4 adds 4 more to make 10 flashcards for week 4. And all the weeks are set up basically the same way until you get to one of the review weeks. For example, lesson 6 includes at the end a review sentences where you take all the cards and all the vocabulary words you've learned up to that point and make sentences with them. And then they give you the option after that of doing a break week. My kids usually opted to skip the break week and just keep going, which was fine with me. But they do have a break week for your kids to absorb, and they recommend that they continue playing with the vocabulary words. And especially for things like in the kitchen, like fork, spoon, knife, you continue to use that those vocabulary words while you're going about your daily life. So here's one of the lessons that's a big review of all the lessons you've done so far, and they actually have a crossword, so your kids will fill it out, and then they have the answers for you. Here's an example of one of the grammar lessons that they include. They sprinkle grammar along kind of lightly as you need it to speak, which is good. The focus is definitely on getting kids to speak Spanish first and then explain the other stuff as it comes up, which I think was really good for us. My kids really enjoyed that approach. All right, so a few other things that I added as supplements to our Spanish that are more continuous kind of things that don't necessarily rely on us doing the curriculum. So like I said, my husband's a native speaker, but he grew up bilingual, so his family spoke English at home and Spanish when they were outside the home and like at school and everything. It was all Spanish mostly. So he doesn't necessarily know a lot of the like getting ready and at home phrases in Spanish. If he heard someone say them, he'd know what they meant, but producing them himself, he was used to hearing them all in English. So I got this book, Play and Learn Spanish. It comes with a CD. I think there's a newer version too, but I read some reviews of the CD in the newer version. Like people were having trouble with it, so I just got the older version. But each page is themed around a different kind of task that you do every day or regularly, and it has all sorts of different phrases and their translation. It has pictures down here with different vocabulary words, and then there's a track on the CD that has all this stuff on it too, and songs and things like that. So we've been focusing on, my husband and I, learning some of these phrases and then practicing them consistently to kind of get the kids used to more of these things. And so this is very much something that my husband and I are reading the book and then doing with the kids. The kids don't necessarily look at this book, although my son does like to look at all the vocabulary at the bottom. There's 2 other supplements that we use. One is a free TV show from PBS. It's called Salsa. It's fully immersive and it's designed for kids who don't know a lot of Spanish to help them start to learn vocabulary words. So it's very repetitive, but it's fun. It's puppets. They're kind of weird puppets. They're kind of cheesy. It's definitely like a lower elementary show, but my kids really like it. And then the other thing that I got was this Whistle Fritz DVDs and CDs. It's also immersive, entirely in Spanish. And so there is a curriculum you can buy to go along with this, but I already had Flip Flop and I like Flip Flop better. So we just have the DVDs for this. But there's 5 DVD episodes, and then I have 3 CDs here, but I think there's 5 CDs total now that they've produced. So the CDs have a bunch of songs in Spanish. My kids actually do like these CDs. They do like these DVD shows as well. They're about a little mouse and his friends, and they have puppets and they're fun. So it's this lady Maria, and she goes through the whatever's going on in the episode. So there's playtime, the seasons, inside and outside, animals, Fritzy's birthday, and then the 3 CDs are Cha-Cha-Cha, Sabor, and Let's Dance. So my kids like these. I think they like salsa a little bit better, but they do also, when they get tired of salsa, they'll watch these DVDs, and it has different vocabulary from the vocabulary that's introduced in salsa. So this is a fun supplement to our Spanish curriculum. So I hope you found that helpful. I will link everything in the description box below. I am an Amazon affiliate, so if you click on an Amazon link and make a purchase, I do receive a small commission. Thank you for watching.